Hey guys, sorry about the lack of uploads this summer. My personal life has just been really busy, and at the end of the day, I have no real drive or inspiration to make any new videos, but hopefully I'll be uploading more regularly soon. I have seen movies in the theater, I just haven't made videos on them yet. I'm probably just going to make a long, big catch-up video about that. I thought, hey, why not? I'll be one of those YouTubers who makes a DVD Blu-ray collection video. So this is probably going to be a long video. I'm probably going to heavily trim it down. I don't know, but let's get started. These are all the Blu-rays I own. All 5 of them. I'm totally serious. Most of my stuff is DVDs. I don't own a Blu-ray player. But real quick, 12 Years a Slave, great movie. Fast and the Furious 7 and 8, I'll talk more about those later. The Orphanage, pretty cool Spanish horror movie. Samsara, pretty neat, crazy, spiritual thingy. I don't really know how one would classify that movie, but the visuals are really awesome and it's worth checking out. On to the DVDs. 12 Angry Men, it's classic. 17 again, I own this on DVD for some reason. 2012, it's a guilty pleasure. 21 and 22 Jump Street, I love these movies, they're really funny. 300, this movie's a fun time. 8 Mile, the Eminem movie, it's pretty good. Adaptation, I love this movie, very clever, self-aware meta writing going on. Airplane, it's classic, it's pretty funny too. Amelie, it's a pretty cool movie. American Beauty, this is a fun one. American Psycho, I really like this movie too. Lots of nice, funny, dark humor in there. Same with American Beauty too. Amores Perros, really cool Mexican movie and breakout film for Alejandro Gonzalez Iñárritu, or however you say his name. A more cool French movie made by a German director. Anchorman 1 and 2, and I don't care what anybody says, Anchorman 2 is just as funny as Anchorman 1. I think I consider them about equal. They make me laugh just about the same. Anomalisa, really cool, overlooked stop motion movie. Apocalypse Now, Redux, it's super very long, and I actually like to see the theatrical cut because I think the Redux is just plain too long. Army of Darkness, this is another fun one. Series of Unfortunate Events, it's nostalgic for me. Audition, the Takashi Miike movie, this one's pretty cool. The Austin Powers trilogy, very nostalgic for me, pretty funny too, if you're in the right mood for it. Balls of Fury, guilty pleasure of mine. It's kind of stupid, but I like stupid stuff, I don't care. Avatar, I messed up my alphabetical order a little bit, but whatever. Highest grossing film ever made, it's fun, might as well have it. Babe, big nostalgic movie for me. The Back to the Future trilogy box set, they're fun movies, but personally I think they're a little overrated. The Batman 4-pack, it has Batman, Batman Returns, Batman Forever, and Batman and Robin. Good, not quite as good, not as good as the last one, and Abomination of Cinema, in essence. Battle of Britain, this is mostly because when I was a kid I was a fan of planes, like World War II stuff to the present. Beavis and Butthead Do America. It's classic. Beavis and Butthead are awesome, and it's pretty darn funny if you're in the mood for it. I actually need to get another stack. Up next, we have the Before trilogy, Before Sunrise, Before Sunset, and Before Midnight. Great romantic dramas, very well written. The first two are awesome, but Before Midnight's a little unnecessary. Being John Malkovich, great movie. Beverly Hills Ninja, nostalgic, guilty pleasure. Big Fish, good movie. Birdman, awesome movie. Blades of Glory, I don't care what anyone says, this movie rocks, and my 12-year-old self found it very, very funny, and at this point it's just nostalgic for me, so I don't care anymore. Borat, it's classic. If you haven't seen it, what are you doing? Go watch it, it's hilarious. Brokeback Mountain, great movie. Bruce Almighty, it's okay, I guess. Bruno, I know it gets a lot of negative reviews from critics and audiences alike, but I love this movie. I think it's hilarious, and I've shown it to a bunch of friends, and we all laughed our asses off. So if you have a good sense of humor and you're not easily offended, this movie is so funny. Burn After Reading, pretty underrated movie. I thought it was well written and very funny. Cache, really cool, pretty cool thriller, if not a tad slow. Casino Royale, and the only other James Bond movie I have is Quantum of Solace, of all things. Casino Royale is pretty good, Quantum of Solace not so much. Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, this movie gets an unnecessary amount of hate in my opinion. I think even though it does things very differently from Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, it's just as good on its own terms. Chronic, very underrated, overlooked movie. I highly recommend you check this out if you haven't seen it, because it's really good and it's really worth your time. Let's see here. Cloud Atlas, very dense film in terms of plot. Besides Magnolia, this might have the most complicated plot of any movie I've ever seen. I'd actually like to rewatch it sometime soon. Creep, don't be fooled by the $3.99 sticker. I actually only got it for $1.99. And that's the only reason I own it, because I got it so cheap. Damnation, very slow, atmospheric, Hungarian artsy movie. Dances with Wolves, this is actually the 4-hour extended cut. I'd like to see the theatrical cut, because the extended cut I feel is a little too long. Diary of a Wimpy Kid 1, 2, and 3. I really loved the books when they first came out. I don't like them anymore because now they just got ridiculous, and Greg should be in his sophomore year of college by now. But I like the first two movies. They're nostalgic for me, so why not? Disaster movie, guilty pleasure. I know this is probably the worst of the Seltzerberg movies, and I personally don't really like it either, but honestly, I don't completely hate this movie. And the other movies I have, like Epic Movie, Meet the Spartans, I know they're objectively terrible and stupid, but they make me laugh. What can I say? I like stupid stuff. Django Unchained, awesome movie. Dodgeball, if you're in the right mood for it, it's pretty funny. Drag Me to Hell, pretty cool horror comedy satire thingy. Elf, very nostalgic Christmas movie, very charming. Enter the Dragon. This one I'd also like to rewatch sometime because I haven't seen it in forever. Epic movie, like I said. I know it's terrible, but you know what? It makes me laugh. And like it's so stupid to me, it's funny. And it's also kind of nostalgic too. And I'm not ashamed to admit I saw this in the theater twice. Don't blame me. I was 12. Anyways, Eraserhead, great movie. E.T., it's pretty good. Haven't seen in a long time. Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, awesome movie. Eyes Wide Shut, it's pretty cool. Fantasia and Fantasia 2000. The original Fantasia is one of my all-time favorite movies. Fantasia 2000, it's not bad. It's actually pretty good. It just for me pales in comparison to the original. And I also happen to have Fantasia 2000 on its own as its own DVD, but this has more special features than this one, so that's why I kept it. Fantastic Mr. Fox. Good movie. Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. I actually want to rewatch this sometime soon because the first time I saw it, I thought it was pretty good, but not really worth like the praise I was hearing about it. Fly Boys, lots of historical inaccuracies, but it's a fun movie, so I'm willing to look past that. Forrest Gump, it's classic. Gotta have it. I actually have this on VHS too. I'll get to my VHSs later. Freddy Got Fingered, big guilty pleasure of mine. I have a complicated relationship with this movie, but I think I love it. Friday the 13th, the 2009 version. I used to have the original Friday the 13th too, but I can't find it anywhere. Fritz the Cat and its sequel, The 9 Lives of Fritz the Cat. They're very much of their time. They're worth a watch, I'd say. They're not that great, but, you know, they're interesting. Gettysburg, super long. In fourth grade when we were learning about the Battle of Gettysburg and we were going to have a field trip to Gettysburg, we watched this in class. And because it's so long, it took like 10 days to get through the whole thing. Get Smart. I haven't seen this in a while, but I remember it having some funny parts and being a fun movie. Good Burger, very nostalgic. Gravity, really cool movie. Definitely worth a watch. Try to watch it on the biggest screen with the best sound system you possibly can. All the Harry Potter movies. I was a huge Harry Potter nerd as a kid. I loved Harry Potter back then. What can I say? And since they're on ABC, or it's called Freeform now, they play on that channel like all the time, and whenever they do, I always record them because like the first two movies, I know half the dialogue by memory. It's crazy. And The Sorcerer's Stone was the movie I saw the most times in the theater. I saw that 5 times in the theater. No other movie came close to that. Happiness, really, let's call it interesting little movie. Worth a watch, but it's not for everyone. Harold and Kumar go to White Castle and Harold and Kumar go to Guantanamo Bay, and A Very Harold and Kumar Christmas. They're funny movies if you're in the right mood for them. Hell or High Water, very good movie. Her, excellent film. Hills Have Eyes, both the original and the remake. Personally, I love both of them. I think they're both very good horror films. Hobbit trilogy, they're all right, but The Lord of the Rings is my favorite film trilogy, and these just pale in comparison. Hook, I actually never watched this movie as a little kid, but even as a grown up, there's still a lot of things about it that they're trying to explore that really clicked with me. I Am Love, pretty interesting drama thingy. Ice Age, it's nostalgic for me, and I like it. It's definitely better than the sequels. Let's see, Identity, it's pretty good, I guess. Inglourious Bastards, classic or new classic Tarantino movie. Inside Out, don't have the nostalgic connection like I do with a bunch of other Pixar movies. It's not their greatest work, but it's pretty good. Into the Storm, I own this on DVD for some reason. Iron Man 1 and 2, I don't have many of the Marvel movies on DVD. I think I have the Avengers somewhere, but it's not in my pile of movies I brought here to show you guys. I know I have it somewhere, I just don't know where it is. Irreversible, top 10 movies I would not watch with my family. I like it. It has its problems, but Tim Curry is just so much fun. Jackass trilogy. These movies are really fun if you get a bunch of friends together with a bunch of snacks and drinks or whatever. Just put these on and you guys will have a blast. These movies are so much fun. The Jackie Chan collection, there's 8 Jackie Chan movies in it. I found it at Five Below and I was like, why not? Because it's great value for the money. The only movie in here I'd really want to see again is Armor of God. Jurassic Park, it's classic. Kick-Ass, pretty cool. Kill Bill Volumes 1 and 2. I love these movies so much. These are some of my all-time favorite movies. King Kong, the 1933 and 2005 versions, and the extended version of the 2005 version. I like them for different reasons. They're all fun movies, and this is one of the few like really early movies that I find entertaining. I don't like really old stuff like pre-1940 movies, all that entertaining for the most part. Kung Fu Panda, it's a DreamWorks classic. I love it. Kung Pao, I don't care what the critics say. This movie is hilarious. Just go into it with the mindset that it's all one big joke, and you'll have a fun time. Barry Crown. I don't know why I have this on DVD. It's still in the Saran wrap, as a matter of fact. Lego Movie, it's a modern classic, what can I say? The 7 Leprechaun films all together in one pack. I like the first one, the fourth one, and the fifth one. The rest are all kind of skippable, in my opinion. Life is Beautiful, it's a good movie. Little Miss Sunshine, it's alright, a little overrated, in my opinion, though. Magnolia, I need to rewatch this because the first time I watched it, it like fried my brain and I didn't really understand it, and I need to rewatch it because I think it's a good movie, but I need to make sure all the dots connect, you know? Tilda, nostalgic. Meet the Spartans, again, I know it's stupid, but it makes me laugh. The Matrix trilogy, I like the first one. The Second one is one of the few movies where the middle is actually the best part, and the third one I don't really care for. Memoirs of a Geisha, it's alright. Miracle on 34th Street, if you're in the mood for it, it's a good Christmas movie. Monty Python and the Holy Grail, it's comedy classic, one of the funniest movies ever made. If you haven't seen it, go watch it because it's awesome. Mr. Accident. Does anyone remember Mr. Accident? Because I feel like I'm the only person I know that knows this movie exists. It could be an Australian thing because Yahoo Serious is Australian. So if anyone Australian is watching this, how popular is this movie in Australia? I'd like to know. And I like this DVD because it has the Hollywood Video sticker on it. And Hollywood Video's out of business now as far as I know. So I like keeping relics of the past like that. Mrs. Doubtfire, I bought this years and years ago, but it fell under my bed and I forgot about it, still in the saran wrap, and I found it recently and watched it for the first time because I found it so many years later. Nacho Libre, guilty pleasure, I like it, it's alright. Nightcrawler, it's worth a watch for Jake Gyllenhaal's performance alone. I need to go get more stacks of DVDs. No Country for Old Men, it's classic. Norbit, nostalgic, guilty pleasure. That's all I'm gonna say about that. One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, great, awesome movie. Pan's Labyrinth, good movie. Pearl Harbor, I don't know why I own this on DVD. Phantom Thread, it's pretty cool. Not Paul Thomas Anderson's best in my opinion. Poseidon, I haven't seen this in a long time, but I remember liking it when I was younger. Prisoners, great movie. Psycho, my mom has a lot more Alfred Hitchcock on DVD than I do, but nevertheless, still a great movie. Raging Bull, I'd like to give this a second chance because I watched it once and I didn't like it despite all the hype, and I'd like to give it a second chance because maybe I missed something or I wasn't in the right mindset or whatever. Rango, animated, classic, fun stuff. Remember the Titans, it's pretty good. The Darren Aronofsky collection, which is Pi and Requiem for a Dream. Pi's good, Requiem for a Dream is awesome. The Rocky collection, it's got the first 4 Rocky movies. I like them. Rush Hours 1, 2, and 3, they're fun. Saving Private Ryan, awesome movie. This is my Saw collection. Oh man, I got a lot of these. I can't find the first Saw. I have Saws 2 through 7 and Jigsaw, but I don't have the first Saw. At least I can't find it anywhere. And Scary Movies 3 and 4, again, nostalgia. They aren't terrible like the Seltzerberg movies, but objectively they aren't that great. But you know what? I don't care. They make me laugh. School of Rock, classic. If you are in school and you love rock music, this is totally worth a watch. Scream, what can I say? It's a horror comedy classic thingy. Scott Pilgrim versus the World, it's definitely worth a watch just for its style. Semi-Pro, I haven't seen this in a long time. I don't remember really liking it. There's better Will Ferrell comedies than this, but uh, I don't know. I might rewatch it sometime. It could be halfway decent. Seven, I really like this uh, DVD because it's like a notebook. Seven Samurai, it's classic. I've only seen it once. I'd like to rewatch it sometime in the future. Silence, great movie. This was my favorite movie of 2017 last year. Shaun of the Dead, it's pretty darn funny. I got Shrek 1, 2, and 4. I don't have Shrek 3 because Shrek the Third is not very good. But first Shrek is good. The second Shrek is awesome. I love this movie so much. And Shrek the Final Chapter is all right from what I remember. I haven't seen the final chapter in a long time. Sky Captain versus the World, very overlooked, very cool movie. If you haven't seen it, definitely check it out. It's pretty imaginative and pretty cool. Double feature of The Mask and Son of the Mask, and I don't care what anyone says, Son of the Mask is awesome. All the stuff people complain about where like it has all the imagery and CGI is nightmare fuel, I love that. I love how this kid's movie just has all this ridiculous, crazy, scary, nightmare fuel imagery in it, and I find that awesome. South Park, Bigger, Longer, Uncut. I love South Park. It's one of my favorite TV shows, and this movie captures the spirit of the show perfectly. Spider-Man 1, 2, and 3. Definitely the best Spider-Man movies. I love them, and Spider-Man 2 is tied with The Dark Knight for being my favorite superhero movie. Stardust. I got this purely on a recommendation from Ralph the Movie Maker when he covered it during his DC Movies series. There's some kind of funny stuff in it, but I don't know if it's really worth going out of your way to watch. Star Trek, the 2009 one, it's pretty cool. We got all my Star Wars DVDs, episodes 1 through 6, and bonus materials that came with the original trilogy, and I also have the Clone Wars stuff on DVD, the best Clone Wars series in my opinion. The reason I like having these DVDs is because Star Wars was not owned by Disney when I got these, and they have the Fox logo at the beginning, and the Fox intro song is like the unofficial prelude to the Star Wars opening crawl theme. And just without that, something about Star Wars, at least the beginning of a Star Wars movie, just feels empty to me. Stranger Than Fiction, the Will Ferrell drama, it's pretty good. Stealth, I am actually considering making a full 20-minute video on this like I did with The Lion King 2, because this movie is so bad it's good. If you are like me, when I was a kid, I was really into military aircraft, and even as a dumb 10-year-old, this movie has so much stupid stuff in it that I thought it was so bad it was good. So if you're into aviation at all, definitely check this movie out. It is well worth your time for a good laugh. Super 8, I haven't seen this in a long time, but I remember it being pretty good. We got the Superman collection, which is Superman 1 through 4 and Superman Returns. My favorite of the bunch is probably Superman 2. I don't really like these movies as a whole, personally. they're just a little too cheesy in a bad way and a little too slow for me. Talladega Nights, this movie is very nostalgic for me. I loved it and thought it was so funny when it first came out. I haven't seen it in a while, but I'd definitely like to rewatch it sometime. Team America, hilarious, very, very funny. Check this out if you haven't seen it. Tenacious D in the Pick of Destiny, can't go wrong. Like, objectively, it's like an above average stoner comedy, but if you're a fan of Tenacious D, you're gonna love this. I have the Tenacious D Masterworks in here. I don't know why these are in with the movies. They should be in my TV shows. The 40-Year-Old Virgin. When I was a teenager, my friends and I would watch this movie fairly often, and we thought it was pretty funny. The Bird People in China. This is a very, very underrated, very overlooked movie. And guys, if you haven't seen it, seriously check it out. It is well worth your time. It's directed by Takashi Miike, but it's probably his least Miike-like movie of everything he's made, at least that I've seen. Blues Brothers and Blues Brothers 2000. The Blues Brothers is pretty good, but it might just be because I didn't grow up with it. I watched it as an adult, and I thought it was pretty good, but not like the greatest thing ever. And Blues Brothers 2000 is just super boring. I got 2000 for free. That's why I had it. The Breakfast Club. It's a good movie. Campaign with Will Ferrell. Again, not one of his stronger movies, but again, I don't really know why I have this on DVD. I guess I thought it was good enough at the time for me to get it on DVD. The Comebacks. Again, I know it's not good, but it makes me laugh. The Dark Crystal, it's pretty good. I never watched it as a kid, though. I watched it as an adult. The Dark Knight trilogy, they're modern classics, especially The Dark Knight. Like I said before, The Dark Knight is tied with Spider-Man 2 as being my favorite superhero film. Day After Tomorrow, mostly for nostalgia reasons, I still have it. The Diving Bell and the Butterfly, really awesome movie. If you haven't seen it, check it out. It's really interestingly shot, and I don't really want to say too much. You really just have to check it out for yourself. The Exorcist. This was one of the first horror movies I ever watched, and really got me into horror movies. The Fast and the Furious. I have 1 through 6 right here. There's 6. This is my ultimate guilty pleasure franchise. I know they're not that great, but especially when I was a teenager, I was into cars and I was a fan of Top Gear. And like, if you want to see car porn, these are good for that. And like, they're not objectively the greatest films, but they're a lot of fun, especially the 6th one. I watched this with a bunch of friends one night, and we had a blast with this. Green Mile, great movie, still in the Saram rack, though. I never took it out. The Gray, I haven't seen this since it came out, whatever year that was. I'd have to rewatch it to see how well it holds up, but I remember it being pretty good. The Hangover, I have only seen the first and the third. I never saw the second because I just heard the second was a rehash of the first. The Hunt, very awesome, underrated, overlooked movie. Well, maybe it's not underrated. It got very great reviews from what I remember. But if you haven't seen this movie, watch it because it's awesome. Seriously, guys. And it has Mads Mikkelsen in it. What could go wrong with a movie with Mads Mikkelsen in it? Hunt for Red October. Haven't seen it in a while, but I remember it was pretty good. The Hurt Locker. Also haven't seen in a while, but I remember it being pretty good. The Incredibles. Probably my favorite Pixar film. I love this movie, and it's one of my favorite superhero movies. The Kid with a Bike. Pretty cool, underrated French movie. I shouldn't say underrated, overlooked, I should say. It's very good, and it's worth a watch. King's Speech. It's a good movie. And The Last House on the Left. Also, I personally don't think it's a very objectively good movie, but if you want to see like what passed as disturbing in 1972, it's worth checking out. And I have run out of piles, so I need to get more. We got The Lion King 2 and Lion King 1.5. I have the first movie on VHS. The Lord of the Rings trilogy. The Lord of the Rings trilogy is my favorite film trilogy. I absolutely adore all three installments, and I can't really say much more, else I would just fanboy about them. Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers Extended Edition. I completely see why all the extended parts were cut from the theatrical cut, because there's only like one 30-second scene I would have thought to keep. I hear the only extended edition worth checking out is The Return of the King, so I'd like to see The Return of the King extended edition sometime. The Machinist, pretty cool movie, definitely worth a watch for Christian Bale, not just his performance, but the fact that he completely emaciated himself for the role. We got the Naked Gun 4-pack. The first one is really good, and then they just slowly decline in quality the further along they go. The Other Guys, I like it. I think it's funny. Worth a watch, I'd say, if you're in the mood for it. The Pianist, great movie. I know Roman Polanski's a rapist, but I can't deny he makes great films. The Pink Panther, mostly nostalgic. I haven't watched it probably since it came out. The Pirates of the Caribbean 1, 2, and 3. I like the first two, but once you get to 3, they just start getting unnecessarily complicated and just kind of full of themselves. The Scorpion King, it's fun. It's not high art or anything, but it's fun. The Shining, this was one of the first movies that got me into horror films. The Simpsons movie, I love this movie. It's really funny. The Sixth Sense, great movie. The Social Network, also a great movie. The SpongeBob movie, really good, also very nostalgic. The Strangers, I haven't seen this in many, many years. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the original, great movie. Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the remake, I actually saw the remake before I saw the original, and this was another one of the first movies that got me into horror movies. It's alright. It's definitely better than its sequel, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the beginning, and again, that Hollywood movies sticker there. Hollywood Video, I should say. The Thing, great movie. The Turin Horse, interesting, I guess, if not very, very slow. The Witch, my thing with The Witch is this was the last horror movie I ever saw that properly scared me. Like, I had trouble falling asleep 2 nights after seeing this for the first time. Like, something about it was just so fresh for me at the time that it just really impacted me. And very few horror films have done what this has done for me. And I don't want to oversell it because I don't want to like hype it up and give you high expectations going into it. All I'm going to say is go into it with an open mind because it's very unconventional in its approach. Adam Sandler's The Wedding Singer. It's pretty good if you're in the right mood for it. The White Ribbon, excellent movie. There Will Be Blood, awesome movie. If you haven't seen this, definitely check it out. Michael Jackson's This Is It. It's good, especially if you're a fan of Michael Jackson's music. Definitely better than Moonwalker. Titanic. I actually used to have a 2-disc version of this that had audio commentary and a bunch of other special features, but this is the 1-disc version that it has the whole movie on 1 disc but no special features because there's no room for special features on a 3-hour movie on 1 disc. Top Gun, haven't seen it in a long, long time. Transformers Revenge of the Fallen. I know I have the first movie somewhere, but I can't find it. But I obviously after this movie I stopped collecting them on DVD. Troy, haven't seen it in a while, but I remember it being a very good movie. True Grit, also a good movie. Haven't seen in a while though either. Twister, kind of nostalgic for me, even though some aspects of it are kind of stupid. United 93, very good movie. Up, also a very good movie. Vampires Suck, again, I know objectively it's bad, but it made me laugh. And to this movie's credit, it at least gave Twilight the bashing it deserved at the time. Vanilla Sky does not hold up upon rewatch. V for Vendetta, great movie. Yes Man, I own this on DVD for some reason. You Don't Mess with the Zohan also does not hold up upon rewatch. Zodiac, really cool movie. Zoolander, if you're in the right mood for it, it's pretty funny. And that's the end of alphabetical order. These are some random collections I have. Like, I got this one at Five Below for less than $5. Otherwise, I wouldn't have gotten it. The 4-pack of Big Fat Liar, Johnny English, Thunderbirds, and Rocky and Bullwinkle, which, as we can all see, are quality films. And that's why they're priced so low, so the whole world can see them. We got the Will Smith double feature with Independence Day and I, Robot. They're both watchable, I guess. Independence Day, upon rewatch, is extremely cheesy. The Quentin Tarantino triple pack with Reservoir Dogs, Pulp Fiction, and Jackie Brown. I only wanted Pulp Fiction, but this 3-disc set was cheaper than getting Pulp Fiction by itself. And I hadn't seen the other two, so I thought, hey, why not? So that ends movies. Time to move on to TV shows. Actually, before we move on to TV shows, I forgot about this little travel packet I use to keep my DVDs I don't have cases for. Real quick, that's Synecdoche, New York, Bowling for Columbine, Million Dollar Baby, both discs, and Houseu, or House, the crazy Japanese movie from 1977. Anyways, I don't have a whole lot of movies on. I don't have a lot of TV series on DVD, so these are not alphabetized. First up, we have the nicest DVD box set I own, which is this 6 Feet Under box set. Really excellent series, but I wouldn't recommend watching it all in one go because it will make you very depressed. Yeah, it's really nice, and I especially like the gravestone and fake grass on top. Top Gear seasons 12 and 22. I love British Top Gear. British Top Gear seasons 1 through 22 are my favorite TV show. I can watch them for hours and hours and hours and never get bored of them. I also have season 1 of American Top Gear, which, although isn't as good as British Top Gear, of course, I think it gets an unnecessary amount of hate because the 3 hosts they have here at least have chemistry, at least definitely better than Rory and Matt LeBlanc and Chris Harris, I think his name is, or whoever the new hosts are. I don't really watch Top Gear anymore, new episodes of Top Gear, because of the new hosts. I got Robot Chicken seasons 3 and 5, pretty funny show, and the Star Wars, Robot Chicken Star Wars specials, the first 2 anyway, and I really love these specials because they are just so funny. Speaking of Star Wars specials, I have the Family Guy Star Wars trilogy. It's pretty funny. Not quite as funny as the Robot Chicken ones, but still, if you're in the right mood, these are pretty darn good. I got House of Cards seasons 1 and 2. I haven't actually watched these yet, I just got them, but I hear the first 2 seasons of this show were really good, so I want to give them a shot. Same goes for Game of Thrones seasons 1 and 2. I haven't seen them yet, just got them, but I want to give them a shot because I hear they're really good. One of my all-time favorite TV shows, Ned's Declassified School Survival Guide. I don't care what anybody says, this show was awesome. And they only released seasons 1 and 2 on DVD, which I'm very sad about. And the only season 3 episodes are on this field trip special, which was released on its own. But if they ever do release season 3 on DVD, which is probably going to be highly unlikely, I'm definitely buying it because I love this show. The same goes for another childhood staple of mine, Ed, Edd n Eddy. They only released the first 2 seasons on DVD as far as I know, but if they release any more ever, I will definitely be buying them because I love Ed, Edd n Eddy. Got some collections of Fat Albert here. These are from Five Below. They were super cheap, and that's why I got them. They're all right. They're definitely watchable. They're very dated, but that's part of the charm, I think. Got American Dad Volume 2 and only 1 disc of American Dad Volume 1. I love American Dad. American Dad is funny. Unlike all of other Seth MacFarlane's shows. Like, I have a bunch of Family Guy DVDs coming up, but that's from when, 1, I was younger, and 2, Family Guy was watchable. Got The Simpsons seasons 1, 2, and 6 and 7. Simpsons, I really like The Simpsons. Well, Mama, I got a lot of Mythbusters. Look at all those Mythbusters, and those aren't even the seasons. These are just random collections of episodes. I have season 1, season 2, season 5, season 6, and 7. I love me some Mythbusters. Mythbusters is one of my favorite shows. Three Stooges. There's a long story behind why I have this DVD, but all I'll say is I've only seen it once and I've never watched it again. I don't really remember anything that's on it. Some miscellaneous collections of Full House. I used to have the whole series of Full House on DVD, but then I grew up and I realized that Full House isn't really that good, so I got rid of all those DVDs, or at least I thought I did, because some of them survived and still live on. Futurama Season 1, it's pretty darn funny. I have some miscellaneous collections of SpongeBob, because SpongeBob is awesome, especially in its earlier years. Oh man, look at all those Family Guy DVDs I was talking about earlier. I really liked Family Guy from like age 9 to 15, but after that, Family Guy started growing down the tubes, and I also kind of grew out of this sense of humor. But I still have these, and they're fine. I still like them. This is the second nicest DVD box set I own, Band of Brothers, which is in this nice metal container. It's good, but I don't know if it's deserving of being the #1 highest rated series on the IMDb Top 250 TV series. I don't know if it's #1 anymore, but it's definitely like top 5, and I don't know if this really deserves to be that high up, but it's still good and it's still worth a watch. Okay, that's all my Blu-rays and DVDs. I threw out most of my VHSs from when I was a kid, but I still have some VHSs lying around, so I thought, hey, why not? I'll show those too. And I don't have that many of them, so these are not going to be alphabetical either. Recess, school's out. It's very nostalgic for me. Sleeping Beauty, very nostalgic for me. Peter Pan, also nostalgic. There's going to be a lot of Disney movies in here. Mary Poppins, I actually didn't watch this very much. Tarzan, I actually didn't really like this movie very much growing up, at least not as much as other movies I had on DVD. The Black Cauldron, it's again nostalgic for me. The Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh, super nostalgic. Babe, I have this on DVD, but I also have it on VHS. I actually forgot I had it on VHS still. Hunchback of Notre Dame, still a good movie. Hunchback of Notre Dame 2, not a very good movie. Bambi, haven't seen it in a long time. I'd like to rewatch it sometime though. I got Pocahontas, I don't have the case for it anymore, but I still have the tape. Toy Story 1 and 2, the first Toy Story is one of the first movies I ever saw in my entire life, as far as I can remember. Again, nostalgic. Dinosaur, because when you're 6 years old, dinosaurs are the most awesome things in the world. Robin Hood, I actually didn't get this until I was starting to grow up, and I was starting to grow out of watching these movies on a regular basis, so I haven't watched it very much, and that explains why this case is in such good condition compared to the others. The Lion King, see, I told you I had it on VHS. Awesome movie. Mulan does not hold up very well upon rewatch. Hercules, Very random upon rewatch, but still pretty fun. Beauty and the Beast, The Enchanted Christmas. I think I've only watched this once or twice in my entire life. I don't think it's really worth revisiting either. Flubber, very nostalgic for me. I would watch this all the time. I know it's not that good, but it's a guilty pleasure. It's nostalgic for me. Does anyone remember the Jimmy Timmy Power Hour? 'Cause I sure do. And for that matter, does anyone remember Bionicle Mask of Light, the movie? 'Cause I remember this too. Do you guys remember Drake and Josh Go Hollywood? 'Cause I sure do. I have Jurassic Park 3 on VHS. I had The Lost World on DVD, but I don't like The Lost World, so I got rid of that. Still have Jurassic Park 3 though. It's not that great, but it's nostalgic for me, again. Walking with Dinosaurs and Walking with Dinosaurs, the story of Big Al. I loved this, absolutely loved this growing up. And even rewatching it as an adult, even though when you watch it in HD, like on a DVD, or like I should say, like on a computer screen in higher definition than a VHS, some of the CGI doesn't really hold up, but most of it does. And this is like the best dinosaur mockumentary thing ever made, in my opinion, and it's awesome. And if you haven't seen it, you should watch it. Same goes, and if you really liked it, you should watch this Big Al episode, which is essentially just another episode of this. I got Eyewitness Dinosaur. I have more crap about dinosaurs, but this time narrated by Jeff Goldblum. So there's your incentive to watch it. There Goes a Bulldozer. I still have this for some reason. The Age of Flight and Modern Warplanes, which I have left over from my childhood of being obsessed with military aircraft. And the last one, Forrest Gump, which I also have on DVD, but I have on VHS too. And that is all the DVDs, Blu-rays, and VHS tapes I currently own at this particular moment in time. I hope you guys didn't find watching this video as boring as I did setting up for it and making it. So, bye, and eat lots of nectarines because they're juicy and refreshing and nutritious and tasty. Bye-bye.